Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast presented by FanDuel Emergency Pod. That's right. The Detroit Pistons have traded Isaiah Stewart to the Memphis Grizzlies. We're going to be going over the trade details, the draft picks that the Detroit Pistons got in this deal. Also, going to be going over how the Memphis Grizzlies were able to not send anything back to the Pistons really and absorb Isaiah Stewart's $15 million contract. Also, look at the cap space avenue the Pistons could possibly take. I'll give you guys my overall thoughts and reactions and why I feel the Detroit Pistons decided to make this trade and move on from Isaiah Stewart. Now, longest tenured Piston, he was from the 2020 draft class, as you guys know, Troy Weaver's first year, where he drafted Killian Hayes, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey, and Saban Lee. He was the last of that group. Now he's a member of the Memphis Grizzlies, a rebuilding Memphis Grizzlies. Now, Shams Charania does have the trade on the screen, and I'll be reading it to you guys. It says just in the Detroit Pistons are trading center forward Isaiah Stewart to the Memphis Grizzlies for 3 future second-round picks, sources tell ESPN. Pistons clear Stewart's salary and pick up assets, while the Grizzlies acquire a 25-year-old as a rugged front court piece. So Pistons are getting 3 future second-round picks. Now, the second-round picks, I'm going to try to explain this the best I can because I'm just like, okay, cool. So I'm just like, NBA trades are weird this time of year. So the 3 future second round picks the Pistons get are the 3 second round picks that they traded up last night to select Ibuka Okori. And those 3 seconds are a 2029 second round pick, second best of the Pistons, Knicks, or Bucks, a 2031 second round pick via the Dallas Mavericks, and a 2032 second round pick that belonged to the Detroit Pistons. Anyways, so the Pistons get their 3 second round picks back that they traded up with Memphis last night when they drafted rookie point guard out of Stanford, Ibuka Okori. So this was a salary dump, and you get your draft picks back, essentially, by giving them Isaiah Stewart. My thoughts and reactions with this is if you are salary dumping to create or generating cap space because there's a player out there, whether that's in free agency or whether there's a player in the open market that you're trying to trade for, I'm just saying it better be for at least a 20-point per game guy. That's all I'm saying. You can't trade one of your best defenders, your best rim protector, part of the team, culture setter, glue guy, and you don't come away with at least a bucket getter, the pair next to Cade. I mean, that's what Brian Windhorst said that the Pistons are trying to do, right? Right before the draft, he had said that, they tried to trade for Tyler Hero before he went to the Bucks. That didn't work. They tried to go after Austin Reeves as free agency. That didn't work. So the Pistons decided we are going to salary dump Isaiah Stewart to the Memphis Grizzlies and have $15 million more on our books that we could possibly spend via trade or free agency. So that's my initial reaction. Like you better get a bucket getter. That's all I'm saying. This fan base right now, I can guarantee you, they are pissed, upset, devastated. I mean, I remember reading one YouTube comment from one of you guys that watched this podcast. It said, "I'm canceling my season tickets if we trade Isaiah Stewart." I'm pretty sure that fan is going to be canceling their season tickets if they didn't already see the news. I think a lot of times we get so attached to players, but I think the one thing with Stu that is a little bit more than attachment itself is how he adapted to the Detroit Pistons culture, how he protected the rim, how he had a mentorship with Ben Wallace. I think that's why so many Pistons fans really fell in love with Stu. And I know as Pistons fans, well, we didn't mind if he mixed it up a little bit. Getting in fights and stuff like that. I think as Detroit Pistons fans, we don't mind that as long as it doesn't really affect his teammates and stuff like that. But hey, I think Memphis is getting a good one, but I can understand that Pistons fans are really upset. We do have another tweet that we are going to be putting on the screen from Keith Smith, and he kind of breaks down the logistics from the Memphis Grizzlies side. So it says Isaiah Stewart will either go into the non-taxpayer mid-level exception as a TPE, more likely, or the Jaren Jackson Jr. TPE, less likely for the Grizzlies. This could be a sign that the Detroit Pistons going are gearing up, excuse me, to go the cap space route this offseason, something to keep an eye on. So with Memphis, they do have a trade exception that they generated after sending Jaren Jackson Jr. to Utah. Keith believes this is less likely. They think that Memphis was able to swing this trade with the non-taxpayer mid-level exception as a TPE. So that's how Memphis most likely was able to kind of generate this trade without really sending any type of players in return. Now, I think when organizations decide to salary dump a player, I think as fans, we always say, like, you couldn't get anything for that player. I will say Isaiah Stewart is on a very cost controlled contract. You could have got something for Isaiah Stewart if you were looking to get something. This organization, I think, did try to package Stu in trades. And I think they just got to a point where they're like, we're just going to salary dump them and try to generate cap space so we can either absorb a big contract like a Zach LaVine, for example, or maybe you're gearing up for a Norm Powell, or maybe there's just a name I haven't mentioned, a Michael Porter Jr. I don't know how more likely that is with Julius Randle being in Brooklyn now. Maybe Brooklyn tries to win more since they do have their pick swap with Houston, and Houston has their pick because of the James Harden trade. I don't know how likely Michael Porter Jr.'s trade availability is going to be. But it could be for a player that's kind of like on a higher salary like that. I'll let you guys kind of speculate that. I have no idea what this front office is thinking. I could take a guess. I think it's either like one of those, big name players that's on a bigger contract, or you kind of can split up that money with maybe getting more shooting guard help, like Norm Powell, like I had mentioned, maybe some more front court help. I know it was reported that Tobias Harris doesn't want to come back. Maybe you have more cap space now to get a John Collins, possibly get a Rui Hachimura. Because you're trying to generate cap space. But the Pistons are up to something. They're going to do something. They're just not going to salary dump Stu and do absolutely nothing. And Keith Smith kind of outlines this in another tweet about how the Pistons can generate cap space. The Pistons can get nearly 21 million in cap space by just renouncing their free agents minus Jalen Duren. There are other waiver and salary shedding moves Detroit could do to get up over 30 million in cap space. They also have the 9.4 room exception to use if they go with cap space. So the Pistons can take a couple different routes with the cap space route. What Keith means is kind of like, renouncing their free agents minus Jalen Duren. What he means by that is there are cap holds like Tobias Harris, Kevin Herter, just to give you guys a couple of names where they can renounce those rights and those cap holds go away, and then you can generate cap space that way. Obviously, they are going to re-sign Jalen Duren to a new contract, but they can generate cap space to re-sign Jalen Duren. Go get somebody. Brian Windhorst mentioned that the Pistons are actively looking to trade for a scoring guard next to Cade. Scoring guard to me, as soon as I heard him say that, I immediately thought of Zach LaVine. I was just like, are they gearing up cap space to trade for Zach LaVine? I don't know what to think, man. Like, the process to me for a salary dump, I'll hold my judgment until I see like what you actually get out of the salary dump. Like, if you just can't come away with anything and you have to sign a bunch of guys to like 1 to 2 year deals, then I won't like the trade and it'll be very underwhelming. But I do know Trajan said that they are being extremely active in trade conversations and everything like that. But it just gets to a point where it's just like you hope that this move to shed salary can actually make this team better in the long run. And right now, after the draft is over, there is a lot of undrafted free agents that will be picked up. We'll probably do a podcast on those guys. And there was also a trade with the Detroit Pistons and the New York Knicks in the late second round. We'll probably go over that player a little bit more in depth of what to expect summer league wise, G League wise for the Motor City Cruise. Could it be a possible two-way? We'll probably get into that tomorrow, but I did want to do a short little podcast with the Isaiah Stewart trade. Again, I'm not surprised by it just because he was on the trading block for about a week or so. And the Pistons, kept throwing him in, other trade offers like the Miami one for Tyler Hero. There was talk about possibly sending him to the Lakers in an Austin Reeve deal. Today they finally bit the bullet with Memphis and they got their 3 round picks back. So they have 15 seconds again. But again, I'll hold my judgment until I see what the salary dump actually comes to in the trade market or via free agency. Before we do hang it up and say goodbye to you guys, we have to hear from our sponsors over at FanDuel. NBA draft is over now, but we do have Rookie of the Year odds over on the FanDuel Sports book. And Cam Boozer is a plus 240 favorite to win Rookie of the Year. We also have Darren Peterson and AJ DeBonta at a plus 400. Darius Acuff, my favorite, to go plus 450, especially with the Kings being bad. Like plus 450 for Darius. I said earlier today, I'm probably just putting 10 on it because he's going to get a lot of touches. He's probably going to score a lot of points. And I think he'll have a pretty good chance of winning Rookie of the Year. Caleb Wilson with the Chicago Bulls, not Blows. I'm sure you guys probably heard that earlier. I had a little mishap when in my mind, I was like, Chicago's just sucked for so long. I called them the Chicago Blows instead of the Bulls. Wanted to correct myself and get redemption on this podcast. And then finally, Mikal Brown Jr. from the Brooklyn Nets is at a plus 1,500. But yeah, man, Darius Acuff at a plus 450, 100%. I've already put 10 on it. I think it's a really good investment if he does win Rookie of the Year this upcoming season. But again, let me know what you guys think of this Isaiah Stewart trade, your thoughts. I'm sure a lot of you guys are devastated, shocked, pissed off, angry. I'll talk to you guys down below in the comment section. Like always, hope you guys are staying safe. Take care, and we'll catch you guys in the next podcast. Peace.